Hello. It's time for something. Time for... I forgot to set up part of the setup, actually. Oops. It is time for cat. That is part of it. But there's more than just cat that it's time for. Hello, and welcome to Final Fantasy XIV. I noticed last time that my controller is very loud to me specifically and nobody else in their recordings, and I don't know what to do about that. Maybe if I hold it in a different spot. Maybe it's not as audible, I don't know. But yeah, last time we did the Crystal Tower quests. We beat Good King Mogglmog the 12th. May he rot in hell. And now it's time for something a little bit entirely different. There is a set of side quests. Or a set of side quest chains, I suppose. That, let's say that they go for a different mood compared to the rest of the game. Let's say that. It's an accurate statement. Let's see how it goes. I believe it's over here. The Rise and Fall of Gentlemen. You get a phoenix down for this? Oh dear. Hey, you've been busy as a bee, Sucro. Seems half the whispers that come my way relate to your comin' and goin's. Being the active type you are, I reckon you'd be interested in investigating some queer rumors, am I right? But before that, let me ask, have you heard of a man named Hildebrand? Sucro hasn't. To hear him tell it, he was Eorze's greatest and most famous inspector. Still can't say I'm surprised you don't know him. To his credit, Hildebrand and his assistant have a knack for showing up when something shady was afoot. And as for sussing out the culprits, well, he had his moments, though I hesitate to give him sole credit. And he wrote 5 years ago, he gets it in his head, he's cracked the code of Messiah's 7th verse. Dalamud, the calamity, all of it can be stopped, he says, so long as he finds the hero of prophecy. Wouldn't you know it, the hero was Hildebrand himself. So he flies off toward Dalamud. Ah, that's right, he flew. Launches himself straight into the air somehow, ridiculous as it sounds. Of course, it's only logical that he's got to come back down, though it was only recently we found his body. I had reason for bringing this up. Right, so Nashu, Hildebrand's erstwhile assistant, has since become an inspector in her own right. At present, she's investigating the queer rumors I mentioned earlier. She's a sweet lass, a bit daft, but sweet nonetheless. So when I hear she's at wit's end, I want to help. Thing is, I prefer to meddle in the affairs of the living. Zombies are definitely not my forte. So if you're willing, I'd be grateful if you lend her a hand. As for where to find her, she's like to visit Hildebrand's grave in the Lich Yard when she's frustrated. Try looking for her there first. And so it begins. We're told of a man who launched himself straight up into the sky towards the moon. seems normal. Normal enough start for everything. That's true. We might be doing that eventually. And here she is. Nashu Makaraka. How you doing, Nashu? What the heck kind of voice am I going to do for the characters in this questline? That's a good question. They're never voiced. It's all on me. Oh, if only you were still alive, Inspector. You'd know how to stop these zombies. Ah, you there. Could it be? You've come to offer your services to me? Nod. Oh, but where are my manners? Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Nashu, Agent of Inquiries, Extraordinary Inspector. At least that's what I'm trying to be. It's not quite as easy as he made it look. Inspector Hildebrand was a great man, a real Eorzean hero. We traveled the world, me and him, solving cases and thwarting evil. No matter the mystery, you could always count on the Inspector to solve it with grace and style. But then there was the final case. The case of the century, he called it. How to stop the Red Moon from destroying the world. To save us all, he flew into the sky, and all I could do was watch. But then he came back down, and he... Really? You get the echo here? I'm laughing preemptively. They would both go, I'm a cat, I think. This is all a joke, a big funny joke, right, Inspector? Any moment now you'll burst out of the ground and shout, "Surprise! Had you fooled, eh?" And we'll laugh and laugh. Hildebrand Mandeville, beloved son. They say that no one remembers the Warriors of Light. Their names, their faces, all gone forever. But I remember you, Inspector. No, gentleman hero, Hildebrand. I can never be the hero you were, but I'll do my best to try. She just had this at the ready. I, Nashu, Inspector Extraordinaire, will carry on your legacy. So I told myself, Nashu, well, Nashu, there must be a leader, a head zombie who tells the rest what to do. Therefore, all we need to do is kill him. Again, that is. Unfortunately, I don't know where he is or how to find him, but now that you're here, my faithful assistant, you can try the one good idea I've come up with so far. Yeah, this definitely happened like half an hour ago. I think I agree with that. If you go to where these dapper zombies were last seen in southern Thanalan, you might find them. And then you could become their friend and ask to meet their leader. Yeah, that's sure to work. Okay. Now we have to wait for a fate. I think you're doing pretty well carrying on your own legacy right now, Lisa. Probably. Well, the quest description does say she waited 5 years, but the flashback still could have happened like 2 seconds ago. Yep, Boaster's green now. Oh, that wasn't the right way to go. However, the fate is starting. I just need to get there. I just messed up a little bit. It has a unique fate starting sound. Which we'll get to hear again, probably. Maybe. Dapper zombies. A gentleman is rather than does. They're all flexing and posing. Oh yeah, well it has the pink circle because it's the quest indicator. But yeah. It might not do that regularly. It has this music in it. It's orange on your end? Huh. Let's get a closer look at one of these zombies. I feel so cultured! I feel so refined! Oh, the Amalja. Yeah. Oh, I am within level range to make them mad. Whoops. They're too busy flexing and posing to fight most of the time. Leave the gentle dead men in peace, one of them said. Oh boy. I have no choice but to destroy you, unfortunately. I just realized I forgot to summon my fairy this whole time. Hang on, Dapper Zombie. There you go. Fallen corpses riot in style. Well, I got some kind of strange parchment. Time to show that to Nashu. Your attempts to befriend the zombie populace met with dismal failure, it says. But we did find a funny piece of paper. Also, hey, wasn't there a sword and shield on this grave in the flashback? What happened to that? Did you find the zombies? You did? That's wonderful. I've been busy too. The head zombie will rue the day he meets me, you'll see. So tell me, what did you learn? Writ upon this map of the Segoli Desert, in a flamboyant flowing hand, are the words, "A gentleman is rather than does." Oh, so you weren't able to make new friends. That's a shame, but this parchment. This is a map of the Segoli Desert. There's a spot marked here in the south, and look, there's something written here. A gentleman is rather than does. That sort of reminds me of, well, no matter. Let's see where this map takes us, assistant. Onward to the Segoli! It's funny you mentioned Pokemon Sword and Shield, because I feel like the voices that I gave Swordbert and Shieldbert long ago are the correct kind of voices for this questline. Well, here we are, back where we just were. Given everything, I'm kind of surprised this questline doesn't make you go to the Waking Sands at any point. I don't think it does. You'd think they would use that as a joke. Maybe they'll do that in like a much later one. Just bring it back after 7 years or whatever. I don't think I misread the map. Maybe they're just shy though. I say we call out to them and let them know we come in peace, and when the leader shows himself we strike. There's the Wild Rose answer. Look, we gotta pick the joke answers, right? That didn't seem to work. Maybe you should try shouting something else? Oh. I'll just yell about the gentleman. Who summons the gentle dead men? They live, and we hunger. Now she's just panicking on loop. My brothers, lend me your ears. A gentleman does not dine upon his guests. Here we fucking go. Spare these two fair ladies your mastications. Withdraw, I say, and harass them no more. Up in the sky, look! It's a bird! No! It's an airship! No! It's the inspector! We hear and obey! It is you! It really is you! I knew nothing could kill the great Inspector Hildebrand! Hello. What is your question? Following? Hildebrand? Who is this Hildebrand of whom you speak? My name is Zombiebrand, devourer of brains, undead overlord extraordinaire. I believe the opposite of leading is following. What are you saying? You're not an undead overlord, you're a gentleman inspector. Thank you for following. Inspector, overlord, inspector, overlord. Oh, Inspector, you're just confused is all. Don't worry, I'll knock some sense back into that noggin of yours. Nashu likes bombs, by the way. Stay your hand, milady! You know not what you do! Even if I were the esteemed gentleman you purport me to be, the concussive force of the blast is more like to liquefy my... If crashing into the ground made you forget, then an explosion of equal force ought to make you remember. I'll save you, Inspector, or kill you trying. See? Even you acknowledge the possibility that this plan will result in my... death. By the way, this is the comedy questline, if you didn't realize that yet. Physical comedy, oftentimes. Get used to this. I forgot all the sound effects somehow. This man is a cartoon, you are correct. Normally I would applaud your ingenuity, Nashu, but I would have preferred that you found a more elegant solution. He remembers me! Inspector Hildebrand remembers me! Yes, yes, I remember you, my faithful assistant. What I do not quite remember is how I came to be here. Good thing I have the echo. Just give me like 5 minutes and I'll remind you. "5 minutes ago." Well, not exactly. Of course. Happy Halloween! Ah, such a wonderful dream! I slew a dragon and... By the way, you can buy this disheveled Hildebrand attire on the Mog Station. What is this place? And for that matter, who am I? Oh, it's always Halloween. comforting zombies. Yeah, we're all dead. Don't worry about it. God. I, Hildebrand, Agent of Inquiry, Inspector Extraordinaire, have awoken at last. I always knew you'd come back to us. Be it Red Moon or Black Dragon, no fiend is a match for my legendary might. And who might this fine lady be? Could she perhaps be another one of my many Oh, but what is this faint tingling sensation in my arm? This ringing in my ears? This dizziness? Could it be a case? I already have a Phoenix down. Yeah, it's probably the blood loss Hildebrand. Where'd he go? He just disappeared. I don't think I misread the map. Wait. Hold on. I literally have to get rid of the Phoenix down and watch all that again? Whoops. You can only hold one of these. I'll just dunk this on the ground. I can skip the cutscene, that's true. That's very silly, though. There he is. Amazing, isn't it? He wasn't dead. He was just badly injured and needed to hibernate. I didn't even know people could do that. I think I've already lost my Nashu voice. A mild concussion will not sway Inspector Hildebrand from his true calling. Verily, it could be naught else. Somewhere nearby, dastardly doings are afoot, and only I can thwart them. Copious quantities of sand, unbearable heat. Aha! The Sagoli Desert, I'd bet my life on it. Which means Ul'dah is but a short trek away. Yes, it all fits. Only that din of iniquity could so violently trigger my keen investigator's sense. Fear not, law-abiding citizens. Inspector Hildebrand shall soon deliver you from evil. There he goes. Which way did he go, Sucro? Did you see? Oh dear, I've got to find him. And change my outfit too. Well. You know what? Maybe... No, I think I'll keep my... I was thinking for a second, maybe I should dismiss all of my, all of the people following me, like the cat, the fairy, the bird, and just give Hildebrand more room to Hildebrand. But, you know, if anything, the most appropriate thing to do, if it were possible, would be to have about 7 more things following Sucro around. Because this questline is all about exaggerating character traits. Though you would be entirely justified in leaving him to his own devices, it would be understandable if curiosity compelled you to do otherwise, it says. I'm sure Hildebrand can handle himself. He'll only go to the moon again. Beg your pardon, you wish to question me as to the whereabouts of that deviant running around the town dressed in rags? Do I look like a reporter for the Mithril Eye? I do not consort with perverts. Well. I mean, you're in Ul'dah, you kinda do whether you want to or not, actually. But I digress. What? You're looking for a half-naked Highlander who likes to catch criminals? I think I'd remember a thing like that. If you do manage to find this inspector friend of yours, tell him to do something about that goddamn duelist. My mate's pa's cousin's kid's best friend lost his blade the other day to that bastard. Alright. That's a completely unrelated quest. That's also a completely unrelated quest. Hildebrand, are you in the quicksand? No. Sorry, lass, but if it's information you want, you'd be best served by going to Wymond. The only rumors I've heard are those about the weapon thief. Calls himself a duelist, or so I hear. But when you don't allow your opponents to refuse, well... A mysterious weapon-wanting individual, you say. In a funny questline. Whomst could that be? I'm sure we'll learn later. Wymond. I take it you're dealt with that zombie problem, eh? So do tell, just why were they dressing up like dandies? Wymond! Hey, Wymond! Oh, almighty bugger me with a bleeding spear! The dead have risen and they're walking the streets of Ulda! No need for melodrama, my good man. As you can see, reports of my death were greatly exaggerated. It's true, he's not a zombie, I checked. Aye, you do seem to be hale and healthy, which begs the question, how in the seven hells did you survive that fall? Why question divine providence? What matters is that Eorzea's champion has returned, and that he, and by that I mean I, shall bring this thieving duelist to justice. Heard about that, did you? Might be harder than you think. Even I've got no inkling of that fellow's current whereabouts. Inconceivable! I refuse to believe that the ever-inquisitive, ever-ambitious, ever-reliable Wymond is without a single shred of information, even one of dubious relevance. Well, I make no promises, mind you, but there was some talk of a fair maiden. What said her most... The knave assaulted a young woman as well? The audacity! I should fly to her side. Why, if it isn't the lady from the Zagoli? A serendipitous encounter indeed. Unless you too seek the belligerent duelist? Capital! It would be invigorating to engage in a friendly battle of wits. Already the spirit of competition fills me. Come, Nashu, we must away! Nashu's normal outfit is very cute, and also easy to replicate. Damn it, Hildy, I ain't told you the lass's name yet. That wacky Hildebrand is at it again. Nope, not that one. Nope, not that one. Come on. There we go. Well, Sucro, you might as well go after him. He'll be disappointed if you don't. The lady in question's named Yellow Moon. She's a woman with a taste for the finer things in life. Safe to say you'll find her getting fitted for something in the Weaver's Guild most every day. Good luck with the inspection, Inspector. I'm an inspector. Inspector Cat. I'm a cat and I solve mysteries. Today's mystery. Am I a cat? Answer, yes. Inspector Gadget, but with cat. Was anyone else ever shown Inspector Gadget's Field Trip, which is an edutainment series in which Inspector Gadget informs you about various locales of the world? I was shown this in school, and every so often I remember it and realize that nobody else knows what I'm talking about. Except maybe they do, apparently? I probably told you about that before, Rika, and I forgot that you knew what I was talking about already. Because my memory is not so good. I remembered part of the theme song. It was like, Inspector Gadget's field trip. And then he goes, we're going on a field trip. In his voice that I don't remember. That's all I remember about it. That's literally the only thing I remember about it. Except that it was like animated Inspector Gadget on top of like actual footage, I think. My beloved pure heart was unlike any wand you've ever seen. Elegant, refined, the perfect accessory for the cultured woman. You'll bring it back to me, won't you? A priceless possession callously ripped from the hands of its owner. The lady weeps and the wind bears her sorrow to his ears. What gentleman could hear this clarion call and not beg the honor of championing her cause? What in the world? I swear to you here and now, I, Hildebrand, agent of inquiry, inspector extraordinaire, shall scour all creation, from the deepest pit of the seventh hells to the very pinnacle of the heavens for your pure heart. It's Super Paper Mario now. When he said, "And you, my fellow servant of justice, I see your instincts are not to be underestimated, having guided you to this fair maiden's side. Now then, Miss Moon, what can you tell us of the theft?" "Theft, sir, to be precise. My pure heart was only the most recent item to be taken from me." Now she was falling asleep and just spoke up. I'm certain I had it when I left home the other day. After I browsed the latest fashions at Sunsilk and took in a match at the Coliseum, I realized it was gone." "So the time and location of the theft are unknown, essential details without which we cannot solve the case. There's but one logical course of action, Miss Moon. To coax the hidden clues from your memories, we must reenact the fateful day's excursion. To Sunsilk Tapestries." Aren't we, like, right there? "What monster would steal my pure heart?" Maybe this isn't Sunsilk Tapestries? Oh, we just have to go back here. I'm gonna teleport because I'm lazy. That's kind of a relatable trait of Nashu, except I don't really nod off so much as just be tired often. Oh right, we're over here. "Miss Moon, if you'd be so kind as to describe your visit in detail on the day in question." Is this Hildebrand voice ridiculous enough, or do I have to try more? Nashu's falling asleep over there again. "Nothing unusual happened, but if you insist, I was pondering whether or not to purchase a new dress when a man approached me and confessed his undying love." "What sort of man says that to a complete stranger, I ask you? Naturally, I was taken aback and dropped my purse, in shock, not intentionally, on his foot, and he cried out in pain and fled." "If I may be so bold, Miss Moon, that strikes me as a most unusual happening." "In any case, it appears to be completely unrelated to the theft." Is this person, like, observing Nashu's tail as she falls asleep? Or just checking a box? "Let us next proceed to the Coliseum and see what you remember." Where did the box go? There was only the box. Oh, there it is. Wait. What? Hey. What? Happy Halloween! Okay, I was going to say, is the box only there as a prop for the cutscene and for no other reason? Because that would be fitting. But then it, like, a ghost of it appeared very briefly. Conspicuous crates. That crate's looking at me funny. The boxes are important. Where can my pure heart be? The boxes are moving on purpose. "Once again, Miss Moon, if you'd be so kind as to tell us what you remember." Well, like before, nothing unusual happened. I felt like gambling that day and was debating which match to observe when a gladiator approached me from behind and confessed his undying love. Naturally, I was taken aback. I whirled about and struck the man in the face with my purse, in shock, not intentionally. Unfortunately, since I was carrying a tremendous sum of money, the purse weighed about 60 ponzas, and the blow was enough to render him unconscious. 120 ponzas? Miss Moon, you are a remarkably strong woman. Which is precisely why you were targeted. Oh, it's so obvious in hindsight. The thief bore you a grudge. No, it's more than that. He hated you with a passion. There sure are a lot of giant crates in Ul'dah, at the Weavers Guild, at Sunsilk Tapestries, and here too. He's doing his thinking. Stand back! I'm on the verge of unraveling this mystery. I must be allowed to focus. These crates are everywhere, Sucro. I wonder what's inside, but I don't see how we can open... Ah, of course, I still have plenty of explosives. Why don't you try? It'll be fun. Okay. Many cope with grief by taking up new pursuits, such as travel or exercise. Nashu chose to study explosives. Okay. Oh, gods, have mercy! At the heart of every crime rests a single, unassailable truth. This is just my Papalimo voice, isn't it? Reached only by navigating a web of falsehoods and contradictions. There, it's a little different now. Hearken to me now, for as a shepherd leads his flock, I shall guide you to my irrefutable conclusion. A gladiator professes his feelings, only to be rejected and physically assaulted in response, wounding his pride as a warrior and a man. Resenting her prowess whilst recognizing his weakness, he carries out a more feasible vengeance. He robs Yellow Moon of her weapon, the pure heart. Inspector, we found the pure heart. These strange men sneaking around town in wooden crates had it. It's not what you think. We're not thieves. We're devotees. Yellow Moon is our sun and stars. We only wish to keep her safe from harm. And should she misplace an item from time to time, we'd collect it for safekeeping, nothing untoward. You demons were behind all the thefts. All this time you've been stalking me. What nerve. Ah, such unbridled fury, such righteous indignation. We should be glad to accept the goddess's punishment. Oh dear. Well, goddess? Devotees? Ah, but of course! That I had you inspect those crates was a stroke of genius indeed. As I was elucidating but a moment ago, these fiends are obviously the ones responsible for the recent rash of weapon thefts, as... Those thefts were carried out by a single individual, you imbecile. Who's this? Oh, never mind. Lest you've forgotten, the culprit is a duelist. He only claims his victims' weapons after defeating them in single combat. If your powers of observation are as great as you claim, you should have deduced that those buffoons in boxes were incapable of such. I should know. I'm a reporter for the Mithril Eye. My name is Ellie, and I've been investigating those incidents for weeks. Inspector Hildebrand, gentleman investigator and agent of inquiry, I presume. You're looking well for a dead man. Would you like to meet one of the duelist's victims? I'll introduce you with pleasure. You would be willing to share such precious information with me? Your generosity is commendable, Miss Ellie. May this mark the beginning of a long and beautiful friendship. Yes, yes, very good. The name of the man is... Well, where in the bloody hells do you think you're going? I haven't told you anything yet. Oh, Hildebrand. You sure are a wacky man. Well. Wait, where does the quest go? Oh, it's loading, I assume. I suppose, since you're the imbecile's friend, you intend to help him. The man you want to find is an adventurer named Humphrey. At present, he can be found at the Golden Bazaar. With luck, the good inspector may find his way there by the time you arrive. If not, then so be it. I wonder what'll happen when he discovers the victim is a perpetrator as well. What is that? Somehow Hildebrand is going to be here. I should mention, by the way, that I have done this questline before. And I have done future Hildebrand questlines. Yes, there's multiple. But, like, I didn't complete the second one. And I haven't even seen the third one at all. So eventually we'll be getting to a blind playthrough of Hildebrand questlines, I guess. So, you know. That's gonna be something. Plus, I mostly forget things in my life, like everything. So, you know. I don't even remember this one very well, probably. Hi, I'm Humphrey, and you are? At last, I've caught up with you. You there, young sir. I'm told you were a victim of the marauding duelist. Me, a victim? Ha! How amusing! You amuse me! True, I was challenged by the duelist not long ago, but where he thought to find a whelp, he found a warrior of light instead. I defended my honor and my blade. See for yourself. You mean you won? That's amazing. Yeah, well, it was nothing compared to what I faced at Cartano. Magitek to the right of us, Magitek to the left of us. Stuck in the middle with Master Lu, we were. Core, he was a dab hand with the old magic, he was. I tried to save him, of course, but there's a limit to how many giant beasties a man could... That man is no warrior of light. Tell them, Elazar, tell them how he lost and surrendered a sword that was not his own. Liar, scoundrel, I trusted that bastard with me father's blade, bid him take it to the smithy for restoration, even gave him gil to pay for it. Then he comes crawling back, sniveling and begging forgiveness for losing it in a duel, as if that's enough to set things right. Look at me, you bleeding horse, and look at me. My flowing golden locks are no more. I've gone bald from the stress and heartbreak. I swear to everything holy you'll face a reckoning if you don't bring her back to me. Lots of things are happening now. And thus he wandered off. All right, he beat the shite out of me and took the old man's sword. I used all the gil to pay the chirurgeon. I had no idea where he or the sword is. What am I supposed to do, huh? I can't give him what I don't have. Unless you help me find the sword. That's what you do, right? You help people? Have you no shame? First you claim a legacy not your own, then you beg others to help you with problems of your own making. You will refuse this man, won't you, Inspector? And what of Elazar's flowing golden locks? How will forsaking young Humphrey help the man he has wronged? We shall begin our search for the sword by questioning the people of the Golden Bazaar. Hildebrand does have a point, for once. I guess. Maybe. That boy should be ashamed of himself, robbing poor Elazar of a priceless family heirloom. It just goes to show you should never trust an adventurer who claims to be a warrior of light. Thieves and tricksters, the lot of them. It might not be the most honorable solution, but mayhap you should consider giving Elazar a counterfeit blade. If the deception brings him peace in his final days, would it be so wrong? I mean, that would be thief and or trickster. Yet what drives this man to always claim his opponent's weapon? Pride? No, it must be deeper than that. Elazar's sword wasn't much to look at, but at least it was authentic. More than a few collectors have been tricked into purchasing counterfeit relics. Counterfeit swords. Wonder if that's relevant. Oh, we can't talk to Nashu, but she is falling asleep. Nashu. Nashu. Hey, Nashu! Poor Nashu. Antique swords? I haven't the foggiest about that. The traveling merchant Jojanpa is the one you ought to speak with, assuming he hasn't left. The perfect timing was intentional on my end, I will say. I did my best. Because I recognized the animation and how it works. Behind the scenes. If Sucro were just a character in this ongoing, like, Hildebrand adventure, there would be increasing numbers of minions and things following her around every time she appeared in a scene till it was ridiculous. I think. I'm afraid I have no knowledge of an ancient sword, at least not of one I can guarantee to be authentic. You see, any wares I determine to be of dubious origins, I immediately discard in the spring east of Camp Drybone. Although I have no swords for sale at present, I may have disposed of a facsimile similar in design to the one you describe. This presents a quandary. Though I'm loath to deceive an honorable man like Elazar, a well-intentioned ruse may put his heart at ease, thus spurring the rejuvenation of his flowing golden locks, whilst we continue to search for the genuine article. Well, if there is a sword in that spring, it won't remain there for long. It's one of the more convenient sources of fresh water for the common folk in Camp Drybone. Tisk tisk, you should endeavor to be more optimistic, Miss Ellie, like me. I say we search the spring first, before declaring all to be lost. One day Hildebrand will get, like, a new outfit, also. I accidentally did a finger snap. I don't know why I have that on my hotbar, frankly, but I do. Sometimes it's important to snap your fingers, which you can't do while you're moving. It's physically impossible to do that while you're moving, which means that I'm a wizard in real life, I guess. Now she's still falling asleep. I think one of the low-key funnier parts of this is that this reporter is just going along with everything despite her complaining. It occurs to me that I'm not yet fully recovered from my accumulated injuries. It would not be prudent to immerse my body in water. Not without first coating it with a liberal application of salamander oil, that is. Indeed, on many an occasion my dearest mother tended to my childhood scrapes just so. You understand the importance of physical rehabilitation, yes? And you can assist me by pouring the oil all over my body. Fine. I'll just dunk it. Get dunked on. Ah, this comforting scent, as though I'm a child in her arms. Quickly now, before it dries, knead the oil into my aching flesh. I'll just... Okay. The pain multiplies manifold. Gently now, gently. And then I ran him over with a car. The end. Pat him on the head gently. Oh gods, oh gods! Yes, at last my muscles slacken and soften, the warmth spreads and the pain becomes pleasure. Okay. Now he's squatting. I forgot about this part. This is ridiculous. Right there. Yes, keep just doing that. Just, once more with feeling. Okay. Okay, Hildebrand. The interaction bar takes longer every time. Never before have I received such splendid ministrations. Now then, into the spring, you as well, my good woman. It's important to realize that Hildebrand will demand all of that of you regardless of what kind of character you're playing as, probably. And it's also just extremely silly. I spy with my inspector's eye. Well, we've got a pot with a hole in it. We've got a muddy pebble. That's a kind of a big pebble, isn't it? It's just a rock. That is just a stone. And, a muddy bottle. Of course. You've been productive. Excellent. May I see what you found? This is not the sword you're looking for. A completely useless and unremarkable rock. Come now, what were you expecting? A rock that keeps curls away? Well, at least you didn't pick up a rock at random like some people. That got me. Good. No sign of the sword Jean-Pla mentioned, I see. Ah! No, I'm all wet. What was that anyway? Did something cause you to... There's just a sword there. Now she was actually the one who does all the work by accident. Once again, my instincts have guided us to our quarry. That I had you search that section of the spring was a stroke of... sneeze. Achoo. Inspector, it's bad for your health to conduct investigations in those clothes. I'll go to Ulda and fetch you some new ones. How thoughtful of you, Nashu. While you're there, purchase a few bottles of hair tonic for Elazar as well. The newest, most potent blend you can find. The hair is really the most important part. Is it not wonderful, my friend? Soon all of Elazar's woes will be no more. Well, I don't know about that, but we'll see. I still wish that when you ride in the Noctis Mobile, you could have your Chocobo and your fairy and your minion behind you, like in the seats. That would be funny. I flew too far. As promised, I return to you your father's ancient blade. Ah, it is her. Every chip and scratch is just as I remember. God's bless you, sir. I never expected you would go to such lengths for two strangers without thought of reward. Altruism is a rare trait these days. 'Tis common enough if you know where to look. A gentleman recognizes the good in every soul and understands that none deserve to be forsaken. Spoken like a true gentleman, though your garments beg to differ. Inspector, I bought your change of clothing. I also brought a supply of tonic from this peddler I met in Pearl Lane. Excellent work, Nashu. If you would just bring me that case. Inspector? Inspector Hildebrand? There appears to be something lodged in my forehead. Could it be a missive from an adoring admirer? The author neglected to pin her name. I shall come to claim the collector's blade. Is that supposed to be flattering? No, you. It's supposed to be intimidating. The duelist wrote this. He's daring you to stop him. I forgot about the card flying by. A challenge for me! Ho ho! At last the curtain rises! Very well, if I'm to duel the duelist, I must dress for the occasion. Of course. Hildebrand theme. God. I, Hildebrand, Agent of Inquiry, Inspector Extraordinaire, accept your challenge. He's back. He's incredible, so bold, so majestic, just like a warrior of light. No, a gentleman of light. God. He is exceptionally something. Oh, Inspector Hildebrand, you look amazing! Serious? Meanwhile, a shadowy, mysterious figure, Hildebrand. Hotel Mario voice for the next text box? I didn't even see that. Oh boy. Sword. This is far from the strongest of swords. You made this guy Hotel Mario. Of course you did. God, what voice do I even do for this guy, though? Actually. Blue, blue skies and the rolling desert. How much longer must I seek the blade of legend? Probably something like that. I'll workshop it as I go. Filtered water. I forgot they have joke rewards for these two. By the way, next time on Hildebrand, it does this every time. Challenge accepted, my worthy opponent. You shall not claim the blade. With my, let us call it what it is, genius, I shall bring you to justice. Wait, you wish to duel with weapons, not wits? This bridge hardly seems appropriate for such an epic battle. Hildebrand will return in the Three Collectors. God, this whole questline and its presentation sure is something. Hey, I know that spear. That's the one I found buried with the pumpkins. Pumpkins sort of remind me of, no, it's gone. Never mind. Stinger. So, that was the start of the Hildebrand questline. How's everybody feeling about it? I'll be right back. I need to absorb this information. This experience. Hello. I am here. Just checking something. There's something before we resume. Hildebrand was in 1.0. Naturally, we can't quite revisit that portion of the, you know, the game. However, I can read a wiki about it. Hildebrand, in 1.0, traveled around Eorzean inns to solve any trouble he could find, meeting the Warrior of Light, who either solved the issue or helped him out. Some of Hildebrand's misadventures ended up getting him into trouble, such as getting a beating from Yellowjackets while posing as a bandit. Prior to the 7th Umbral era, Hildebrand searched for the hero foretold to face the threat of Dalamud in Ul'dah, where he came across an old farmer who was a warrior in his youth. Misunderstanding the prophecy of Urianger, who while helping the farmer tend to his pumpkin field with seeds and bomb ash, Hildebrand believed he is the foretold hero and decided to fight Dalamud. Nashu found the late Nail von Darnus's gun halberd, Bradamante, that ended up in the farmer's possession after buying it from a merchant in Kurthus. When the inspector tried to use what was believed to be a weapon no longer functioning, Hildebrand was sent flying towards Dalamud after the resulting explosion caused by a spark from Bradamante ignited the bomb ash. And that's what happened to Hildebrand in 1.0 apparently. He fucking exploded. A slight clarification of what we've already learned from this questline. And now, back to it! The science of deduction! Oh boy, I have to think of a voice for Briarden too. Well, that's just gonna be the worst British accent I can think of. Hello! You've joined at a wonderful time. We have started the Hildebrand quests today. And boy, are they something. Perchance you're curious about the duelist's declared target? It so happens I've identified the weapon in question. The Treaty Blade is part of an Ishgardian noble's collection, or was, I should say. No, it has not yet been stolen. It's been purchased by an Ul'dan collector, the wife of a wealthy merchant living in Vesper Bay. Suffice it to say, I would be remiss in my duties as a reporter were I not to investigate her. And should the duelist strike while I'm present, well, I hope I needn't explain what a golden opportunity that would be. Ingratiating myself to her may prove to be the greatest challenge, though. I'm told she's a difficult woman to please. Fortunately, I am also told she has a fondness for rare flowers, the sort Tutusi in Camp Drybone sells. You can come along if you'd like. Very well. Oh, there's an inspector's log. The tales of a thieving duelist continue to confound me, but perhaps it's to be expected. I am but recently returned to civilized undead society after all. The case of Yellow Moon's missing pure heart was a welcome refresher to be sure, but my second case was a grim reminder that dubious acts are sometimes necessary to achieve a greater good. Still, I hold out hope that we may yet find Elazar's sword in possession of my nefarious nemesis. But how am I to catch him if I know not of the collector's blade he seeks? Well, Ellie figured it out. So it can't be too difficult. I had a feeling you couldn't resist the pull of a good story. Since you're here, why don't you choose the Althic Lavender to buy? Here you are, miss. Thanks for your patronage. Was it for love or money that you killed him? What is this? Who's this? Oh. It was you? Have you gone mad? That was an Amal-Jah arrow in his back. I don't even know how to shoot a bow. Amal-Jah don't shoot fleeing and unarmed merchants. They capture and temper them. Not that you or your victim make for convincing merchants. If you're going to misrepresent yourself, put some effort into it. Wear gloves, for God's sakes, or at least don't wave your hands in front of my face. The calluses on your fingers betray you as a veteran archer. Doubtless you used your skills to great effect 5 years ago, as did your partner. So again, I ask, was it because he took it from you? Was it because he took from you your share, or your sister? You don't touch a man's kin. He knew that, and yet he... Damn, I thought he did it for the money. You too, he's all yours. Yes, of course. Thank you for the help, Inspector. At least he's competent, but when did investigating crimes become such a popular profession? It's not his job, you know. He just likes doing it. He belongs to one of Ishgard's high houses. Some say he's a baron. Not at all like that buffoon Hildebrand, don't you think? I try not to think about Hildebrand. We should get going. Lady Dorilda will not take kindly to wilted flowers. Well, time to use one of our Vesper Bay teleports. That voice seems probably about accurate for that character that we haven't completely met yet. Today on Robin Voices, it's a variety of deliberately strange quote-unquote British accents, I guess? I don't know. Usually I try to be more subtle. But subtlety is not in the cards for this one. I think that's entirely possible. I believe you have something to present to Lady Dorilda. Go on, then. Again, I told the last 20 who came before, if you have come looking for work, you're too late. And even if I were in need of additional security, I'd not deign to hire a common adventurer. Now remove yourself from my sight before I have you removed. I have a flower. And I'm a cat. Did you really think I could be so easily manipulated? Present the right gift, speak the magic words, and you'd earn my respect? What's more, a flower's beauty is fleeting. I value beauty which transcends the boundaries of time, everlasting, enduring, unchanging like mine. Now get out. Forgive us, Lady Dorilda. We meant no disrespect. We were afraid that you would not heed our warnings otherwise. A notorious violent thief is plotting to steal the treaty blade. You fools, I shall come for the collector's blade, yes? I read the mithril eye. I know full well of whom you speak, and it's none of your concern. I have a legion of guards at my disposal. Should he try, I'll have him seized or worse. And even if by some miracle he should succeed, he will not escape my wrath, for I have retained the services of a certain gentleman. Ah, but you may see for yourself. Like every piece in my collection, he has been chosen with the utmost care. Now look on my peerless inspector, interlopers, and despair! I'm ready to despair. Ships that pass in the night, a signal shown in the darkness. The lady cries out for a guardian, and a gentleman must needs oblige. I swear to you, hear it now, I, Hildebrand, agent of inquiry, inspector extraordinaire, shall neither slumber nor sleep until the fiend who covets the treaty blade is brought to justice. Yep. My lady, what brings you here? Are you come in pursuit of the duelist as well? Or perchance in pursuit of me? As if I would spend a single gil on an insufferable, incompetent... To be fair, you're not spending a single gil on me. The chance to investigate such an intriguing case is payment enough. Preemptive declarations of criminal intent are hardly in vogue. Sorry I'm late. Busy solving a murder. Briarden, Consulting Inspector, at your service, milady. Conniving Inspector? Consulting Inspector. Oh boy. Rotting flesh and saltpeter. Hildebrand Mandeville and Nashu Makaraka, I presume. Two rank amateurs playing at a profession of which they know not. Call me when you've finished with these wastrels. You see, I do not want nor need your help. Briarden is more than capable of overseeing the transfer. Now get out, all of you. Where have you been, Maria, and where is my vase? There was the strange flying thing, and the vase, I dropped it in the water. I was so... The vase once belonged to the royal house of Thorn. Do you have any idea how much it was worth? You will go back outside right now and search for my vase, and you are not to return until you find it. Do I make myself clear? My lady, pray allow me to go in the girl's stead. It's not safe, for she herself spoke of a ferocious wild beast. With my unmatched investigative skills, I shall swiftly locate and recover the missing vase, thereby earning your respect, at which point you will gladly grant me permission to investigate the thieving duelist. Verily, it is a plan fiendishly clever in its intricacies. Notwin spoke aloud. Notwin spoke aloud. Miss Maria, would you be so kind as to tell me exactly what happened? I picked up the vase in Ulda, like Mother said, and I was on my way home. I was crossing the bridge, and then the flying thing came. I got scared, so I ran. When I stopped, it was gone, but so was the vase. I think I dropped it in Nofika's wells. I want to go and look, but there were scary-looking things down there. I'm scared to go alone. You are no longer alone, Miss Maria. We shall go together and look for the vase, all 5 of us. Nod. All 4 of you. I'm going after Inspector Briarden. If the duel strikes, I mean to be there. But Miss Ellie, how can you ignore the plight of a young girl for the sake of a story? Because that's my job, you imbecile. Well, we shall not be derelict in our duty to justice. Come, Nashu, we must away. You don't even know what the bloody vase looks like. Maria, dear, listen. If it gets dangerous, or if you feel afraid, you run to this adventurer for help, understand? Is this like the first child character we've actually seen so far in the streams, by the way? I think, maybe? That's kind of funny. Well, they made it like 5 feet. Eager to get started, eh? Capital, you have my leave to canvass the scene for clues. Mayhap you may even find a witness or two. I don't think my Hildebrand voice is entirely consistent. But I don't think Hildebrand is consistent, so whatever. It's not important. I just have to be consistently ridiculous. Anyway, I should get this chocobo key. That's clearly important. By the way, this is the sort of path you would have to go on if you didn't have Vesper Bay tickets and didn't know there was a ship directly to it. I do like that you can fly over parts of the land that aren't even real, though. That's helpful. Flight was never in this area for the longest time. So. A vase? Well, anything that falls in the water is like to be swept downstream fairly quickly. Does this have anything to do with that queer winged beast I saw earlier? No? Never mind then. Sounds like it might. People sure use that word a lot. Up. The girl went run by earlier. I seen her. Had something in her hands, but dropped it while crossing the bridge. Didn't get a good look, but I reckon it don't matter any road. Whatever it was, it's long gone by now. It's an individual. I need to figure out a voice for this individual. A pox upon that thieving demon bird! He shall rue the day he crossed paths with me. Huh? A vase? I know not of what you... Ah, curse this infernal refuse underfoot! Every point has a dagger! There's something in the water at the man's feet. Do I spy the treasured vase of Lady Derilda over... Oh dear. Does this belong to you, child? Forgive me, I was so engrossed in my search that I did not notice. Your search for what, pray tell? The demon bird that absconded with my weapon. I set it down for but a moment, only to see it next in the talons of that accursed creature. Yeah, this is the voice, I think. I gave chase following it to these waters, and in my haste I must have stepped upon your vase. Don't fret, Maria. I know it looks bad, but I'm sure Inspector Hildebrand will think of something. Oh, but I already have my faithful assistant. Hearken to me now, for as the rising sun doth dispel the dark, so shall my solution resolve our dilemma. But first we must gather as many fragments of the vase as we can find. Okay. Takes a while. This quest line enjoys long cast bars. Why does this feel so familiar? How could I have been so careless? Lots of people around this river right now. And a green chicken. Come to present your findings, have you? Splendid, let's have a look. All the Sultan's chocobos and all the Sultan's men couldn't put this vase back together again. Well done, my friend. This should be more than sufficient for our needs. He has performed miracles with far less, after all. Yep, not a consistent Hildebrand voice at all. Manderville dance. Oh, I know what we're doing now. Oh boy, I need more voices. Oh boy. There is but one person in all Eorzea capable of reconstructing this vase. A man whose skill with the hammer has brought rival goldsmiths low. So breathtaking are his works, so fearsome his competitive spirit. That's true. This man is no mere goldsmith. You speak of him as one wooed a great warrior. Once a notorious gang of thieves perpetrated a series of robberies in Uldar, targeting establishments which sold luxury goods. One such shop was owned by the humble lapidary of whom I speak. He was the last shop the thieves struck, for the following morning they were found beaten, bound, and gagged in the Gold Court. The brass blades never learned who was responsible. The only information they had was the testimony of the thief, who kept muttering the words, "The hammer, the hammer." He sounds dangerous. Aye, that he does, and I do so enjoy the company of dangerous men. But where are my manners? I have yet to properly introduce myself. I am Gilgamesh, and that is my companion Enkidu. Well, not really. It has been many moons since I last saw her, so to ease the burden of loneliness I tamed a rooster and painted it green. In any case, you mean to search for this goldsmith, yes? If so, it would be my pleasure to help. The pleasure is all mine, Gilligan. I, Hildebrand, Agent of Inquiry, Inspector Extraordinaire, bid you welcome. If it is that hard to remember, I give you leave to call me Gil. Excellent suggestion, Greg. God damn. Playful monikers are an effective means of building camaraderie. Call me Hildy. Now then, from what I know of the goldsmith's propensity to procure his materials himself, I've deduced that he's most like to be found in the vicinity of Blue Fog in northern Thanalan. It is there that we shall begin our search. Everybody say hi to Greg. He's Greg. I'm glad that this is still funny after all of these years. Part of me was a little bit worried that it wouldn't be funny. That the flow of time has transformed my sense of humor such that it would no longer elicit laughter from me. I don't know why I said that so fancy, but you know. If a Domblin became a zombie, would that make it a Zomblin or a Dombie? Boaster doesn't like either of those, and as such has disappeared from life. Anyway, I like Zomblin better. The Doblin's wounds indicate that it was felled with a hammer. A trail of bloody footprints leads to the north. I don't think it's been dead long. Maybe whoever did it is still around. Well. The goldsmith is not to be trifled with. The basilisk's wounds indicate that it was felled with a hammer. A trail of bloody footprints leads to the north. A single blow to the head. Impressive. I don't know what voice to give this next character that's about to show up. Oh boy. His handiwork is unmistakable. The corpse is still quite warm. Hotel Mario voice? Bowser voice? Oh no. I don't think I can do the Bowser voice, or a Bowser voice of any sort. The Dublin, the basilisks, this Ahriman, all were slain by a hammer, as was that beast over yonder, unless I'm mistaken. Point. That chimera must be his latest prize, which means he must still be about. That's like a major boss fate in this area. Just to make it really clear how ridiculous this is. Mayhap he's watching us at this very moment, attempting to ascertain our intentions. He was ever a cautious man when on the hunt. Alas, it comes to this. Though every fiber of my being cries out in rebellion, I must break my oath and do the unspeakable. What must you do that is so terrible? I must dance! I'm a Mandeville man, doing what only a Mandeville can, from the peaks of Curthis to Thanalan. Mandeville man. I forgot I had lyrics. I cannot avert mine eyes! That is the dance of House Mandeville, passed down from father to son. Were I to perform it within sight of our quarry, he would not be able to resist revealing himself. Alas, I neglected to properly stretch my legs beforehand. My good woman, I see no other solution. You must dance in my stead. Though it be a gross, nay, unconscionable violation of my family's traditions, I must bequeath to you the Mandeville. Well... You've learned the emote Mandeville dance. It's time. Mandeville men. The time has come for you to do what only a Mandeville can. We are as siblings now, my constant comrade, for I have shared with you the secrets of House Mandeville. Now you must use that knowledge. Go to the fallen chimera and dance like only a Mandeville can. What's everyone else have to say about this? Are you really gonna do the Mandeville? Oh, I can't wait! What manner of men can only be summoned through dance? Well, we're about to find out. I have no idea what voice, as usual. Oh, the hammer is still there. Alright, Sukro. Fill yourself with the power of absurdity. Perform the ritual. And thus she did. Christ. Voice. I need a voice. Fancy yourself a Mandeville man. You will do what only a Mandeville can. Then lift your legs and put up your hands. Be a Mandeville man. He comes. Draw a weapon immediately. Yup. Ho ho ho! You have naught to fear from me, not at all! The only accounts I came to settle were with the chimera. But you were not drawn here by some coincidence, were you? No, you came in search of me, Godbert. Why else would you gyrate your hips in such a gentlemanly fashion, if not that? But more importantly, how in the hells did you learn the Mandeville? If I did not teach you, then who? This man is still a cartoon, lest you forget. By the grace of Thal, what sorcery is this? He yet lives? God, this game. They really go Gmod with the expressions in this part. That's the only word I can think of to describe it, really. Just flash steps. Hildebrand, Heliodor, Maximilian Mandeville! Helidor, not Heliodor. Suplex! Well, so much for his new outfit. 10 years, Hildebrand, 10 years since you left home, and 5 since I learned of your trip to Dalamud. How long were you planning to allow your mother and father to suffer under the illusion that their beloved son was dead? Son? You are Hildy's father? Godbert the goldsmith's a Mandeville man. Smithing as only a Mandeville can. Oil him up and give him a tan, fit for a Mandeville man. God. I can't even keep up with this. Please, father, cease your undulations at once. There are more pressing matters at hand. No. This antique vase must be made whole once more for the sake of Miss Maria. Ha! Do not worry, little one. I deal with worse cases before my morning bowel movement. I didn't need to know that. And so... well, that was easy. Hold your applause till the end! Baragat, guide my hammer! My voices don't need to be consistent anymore, apparently. Look how it sparkles in the twilight! How it radiates elegance! Would you all not agree that it's a work of art? You've completely destroyed a priceless antique's historical value! Nonsense! I've taken a dull, unremarkable vase and transformed it into something far superior. I hope you are paying attention, Hildy. How long has it been since you last held a hammer? Father, that is not my path. I'm an agent of inquiry, an inspector. It's my duty to help those in need. Miss Maria is one such person. There are others too, innocent people whose weapons were callously ripped from their hands by a thieving duelist. I thought you'd put away childish dreams. No matter, you will understand in due time. No, I will not. I'm an inspector, father. I can be naught else. Mr. Godbert, sir, I don't think my mother's going to like what you did. She probably won't let Mr. Hildebrand help with the investigation. We cannot say that for certain, can we? Mayhap she will take a liking to this reimagining. You spoke of a thieving duelist, did you not? It so happens I'm something of a duelist myself. Were we to cross paths with this fellow, I would welcome the opportunity to pit my skills against his. Enkidu as well, I should think. I see you too possess a strong sense of justice. Full glad am I to have met you, Greg. Now let's return to Vesper Bay and see how our vase is received. Vesper Bay, you say? What a coincidence. I shall be traveling there on business once I've finished gathering materials. Oh, I think I've seen the demon bird which took my weapon. Go on without me. I shall follow anon. So, this is still Hildebrand. How do you feel about it so far? It's a lot, isn't it? That's all that can truly be said. Yep. I'm a Manderville cat. If every component of an object were to be replaced, could the resulting object be fundamentally considered the same? Philosophers are unsure. Godbert does not care. A really expansive game mod? I mean, it's not really a... I think that would require it to be based in something else, but this feels very silly. Oh, I see what you mean. Precisely. It's a fucking boat, Hildy. Oh, hey, Briarden's doing stuff over here. The Hildebrand quests are really like doing all that they can do with the tools that they have, and it's kind of wonderful. It's got a lot of charm to it. Oh, we got new clothes again. Mayhap Miss Maria should be the one to present the vase. I hope she likes it. Mother, I brought you the vase. By the gods, have you no shame? How dare you make my daughter complicit in your chicanery? I don't know where you found this gaudy trash, but it bears no resemblance to whatsoever to the vase I purchased. Now you see here, Lady Dorilda, not only did you send Maria to fetch your priceless vase alone, placing her in considerable danger should bandits or wild beasts attack, which they did, but... Gaudy trash? Lord Manderville, sir, I did not realize you'd arrived. Though I know it's nothing compared to the lavish accommodations an esteemed gentleman such as yourself must enjoy, I pray my humble abode meets with your satisfaction. Oh, it does, my lady, it does indeed. Especially that exquisite vase over yonder, although I gather from your previous comments that you do not like my reconstruction. Your reconstruction? Oh, I don't like it, I love it! I would go as far as to call it the new centerpiece of my Thorn Dynasty collection. Ah, what a relief! I would have been most distressed had you said otherwise. We Mandervilles do so take pride in our work and ever strive for professional perfection. Oh, but why am I repeating what my son Hildebrand doubtless told you when he offered to investigate the duelist's threats? Enough expository banter, I say. God dang it, they reference that here. I cannot recall if your son used those precise words, but I do remember thinking that his help would be most welcome. You will be helping us, Inspector Hildebrand, will you not? Wait a minute, your father is Lord Godbert Manderville, the man who took Elon Quiveron's seat on the Syndicate. It appears there's been a great many developments over the past 10 years of which I was completely unaware. In any case, we must redirect our energies toward the investigation of the thieving duelist. Our first order of business will be review all the facts with consenting Inspector Briarden. And yeah, absolutely, I agree. Even so, they do, like, figure out how to do more with the engine after this, so... This game's good, basically. Why are you still here? Allow me to elucidate. Lady Dorilda has asked that we assist with the investigation. Now kindly share with us all of your information. Fine. Our plans have advanced to a stage that even you couldn't ruin them anyway. I commissioned several reproductions of the Treaty Blade through a merchant named Jojanpa, who traffics in counterfeit antiques. These blades have been delivered to the observatorium, where they are being distributed among Lady Dorilda's sellswords. Once I give the order, they will transport them via alternate routes to Vesper Bay. Oh, I think I get it. You're hiding the real transport with a bunch of decoys, right? They're all decoys. The moment the thief strikes, all our forces will converge on his location, including those disguised as small folk along each route. The real treaty blade will remain in the original owner's vault until the thief has been apprehended. Everything has been accounted for. You are superfluous. Flexing. Mayhap we could use more small folk to watch the roads in and out of the observatorium, assuming you have the capacity to conduct yourself in an unassuming fashion. Fear not, my fellow inspector, I'm a master of disguise. Have you any information regarding the duelist himself? A description? You never thought to ask Humphrey, did you? The thief is said to be a towering brute dressed in red who wields a halberd. Ha! A man so garishly dressed should be easy to find in snowy Curthus. Then I suppose we don't need your help after all, do we? Come or don't, I couldn't care less. Be seeing you. Where have we heard of this description before? Pray forgive my lateness. Greg, my good man, what a pleasure to see you again. We just received new information regarding the weapon thief. A victim described him as a halberd-wielding brute dressed in... a ridiculous outfit! A ridiculous outfit? Now I am intrigued. What reasons would a warrior have for wearing impractical clothing? Ha! What reasons indeed! It's enough to make a gentleman laugh! Everyone here is very intelligent. And very good at all of their jobs and occupations. And there's also a chicken. The damnable demon bird continues to elude me, but no longer. Soon I shall claim my revenge and weapon both. Now she was not falling asleep right now. Antics are ensuing. Allow me to summarize our current plan of action. Some mysteries can't be solved, that's true. Our destination is the observatorium, and our mission is to pose as goodly small folk in accordance with Inspector Bryden's instructions. Naturally, should the situation demand improvisation, we are to disregard these instructions. Any questions? No? Then let's sally forth at once. I want to see Gilgamesh pose as an ordinary individual. I mean Greg. I want to see Gilgamesh become Greg. Hildebrand quests might take more than one stream. I forgot how many there are in one set, let's say. In one season, I forgot how many episodes of Hildebrand there are. That's true, though the design was so incredibly different. That, like, that person's named Gilgamesh, but I don't know if that's actually Gilgamesh or not. I think it might canonically be Gilgamesh, but it sure doesn't seem like it. What do you mean everyone dislikes the Hildebrand quests? That seems to be the opposite of true. That's a really powerful disguise for Greg. Oh, that's funny. I didn't realize he was also hunting for Excalibur 2. Hail to thee, fellow servant of justice! I take it you are one of many tasked with the transporting a counterfeit treaty blade. Clearly you've mistaken me for someone else, sir. At ease, Sergeant. They're with us. More small folk. Keep an eye on them, or else. But Sir, oh, bugger me. Don't you bloody move until I get back. I say, is this land always so inhospitable? The biting winds, the endless snows. Mayhap keeping active will help me to stay warm. Oh, and should I chance to find the thieving duelist, I will of course summon you, after administering the requisite beating. Ha ha! And there he goes. Did Sue grow away? I wasn't looking. Good, you're still... Wasn't there someone else with you a moment ago? Ah, you speak of Greg. He ventured outside the gates mere moments before your arrival, full eager to catch the thief, as are we. Come, Nashu, we too must answer the call of duty. Well, I'm here. You look like you might actually be useful. Why don't you have a word with my man near the east gates? We're on demand over there. I'm glad that these quests are entertaining. Hopefully it is entertaining to watch me play through them as well. Any halberd-wielding mummers shall answer to me! It's funny because Hildebrand wielded one of those once. You see that now? No? I don't think my eyes were playing tricks on me, but there's only one way to be sure. You wait here. Inspector, over there, look! Forgot the voice. What is it, Nashu? Pray tell me what you see. Aha! I see you, demon bird. You will not escape from me this time. Why, hello there, friends. Is aught amiss? Oh, it's just Greg. For a moment I thought you might have spotted our thief. Come, Nashu, we have lingered here overlong. We must egress post-haste. It's just Greg. 'Tis merely Greg. Oh, Gregory. Gregamesh, as he's known. There's not of the ordinary here either. And not out of the ordinary. No luck, We have scoured every ilm of this area to no avail. I can only conclude that having learned his opponent was to be the legendary Inspector Hildebrand, the duelist renounced his criminal ways and retreated into hiding. Or perhaps he's waiting patiently outside the walls for more wagons to leave. That being said, should you decide to venture into the wilderness, you had best arm yourself with more than your wits. I appreciate your concern, Miss Ellie, but a gentleman should abstain from violence unless absolutely necessary. I'll fight for you, Inspector. I even found a weapon to use. By the 12, is that the selfsame spear which propelled me to the Red Moon? Wherever did you find it? It was buried in the snow. Well, one cannot ignore the wheel of destiny. Return it to me, Nashu. Though I will still endeavor to avoid fisticuffs, I will be duly armed should the worst come to worst. Now then, we begin our search for the duelist to the east of the observatorium. Greg antics in the background. But Greg is nowhere to be seen. Come now, how hard can it be to find a large man dressed in red in Kurthus? Well, you know, it can be more difficult than you think. It depends. There's a lot of variables, you know. It's cold out here. Take your post, my good woman, and entrust your safety to me. Inspector Hildebrand is ready for battle. That's true. That is also true. You have a point. Wherefore art thou, my nefarious nemesis? 'Twas not the self-same creature, but one of many. Nevertheless, I know that my weapon is close by. You sense it too, don't you? It's right behind you, Greg. Greg. It's right there, Greg. Sukro just folding her arms. Greg, I've been meaning to ask, why do you covet this weapon so? If you but beheld it, you would understand. In some ways it bore resemblance to a spear, but in other respects it is quite different. It was crowned with a magnificent axe blade, to which was welded a musket barrel. It was one of the first weapons I added to my collection after arriving in these lands. Ah, how I yearned to reclaim it, the strongest of spears. That weapon of yours bears a striking resemblance to the strongest of spears. I claimed this weapon 5 years ago. Surely you can't be serious. Now you call me Shirley? They did reference that already. I didn't think they did. I'm dead. I was joking a while ago that there was totally going to be a Sage achievement or something called, and don't call me Charlian. They could still do that. No matter, give it to me! Give it to me! This is spear and I have traveled together to the very heavens. I will not relinquish it again. This spear and I have bested many a man together. I will not relinquish it again. Then we are at an impasse. Basically, yeah. God. They're really going in on this, aren't they? God. Yeah. Sukro has the right of it. I can't believe I'm saying this, but well done, Inspector. Thanks to you, we've caught the weapon thief in the act. Miss Ellie, you're grossly misreading our dispute. Greg is a good, honest man who I'm certain has never stolen a weapon in his life. Indeed, I have not. Every weapon I claimed was by rights mine. Each was a trophy for besting my opponent in single combat. Nod. Wait. I believe that constitutes a confession. Seize him. A confession to what? I've done naught wrong. Bah, you're all beyond reason. Ah, yes, my plan to secure Greg's confession was utterly flawless, and his capture will be the coup de grace. Well, my plan is thus far flawless. Griffin Crossing is still impassable. I know who you are, even if that imbecile doesn't, so let's not mince words. Only you have the skill to face the duelist in battle. Even so, your strength alone will likely not suffice. I suggest you muster what allies you can. Nod. Thank you, Briarden. You actually know who I am. That's amazing in this questline. Which way did he go, Sukro? Did you see? His name isn't really Greg, is it? Lest you find my advice unsporting, I remind you that our duty supersedes any misbegotten notions of honor you may possess. Valid. It's really good. Oh, speaking of a massive contrast in competence. Well. Ashu, Miss Ellie? My good woman, it's a relief to hear your footfalls. As you've doubtless deduced... Should I be saying this, like, muffled? I was unable to prevent Greg from escaping. No. Through the doors. I must leave the rest to you. Hey, look, it's a big bridge. How about that? I wonder what that means. Now, Gilgamesh may or may not actually say one particular line of his from the Final Fantasy V Game Boy Advance translation that has not aged super well. So, just keep that in mind. And he was also waiting... Yeah, he says this one too. Oh, it doesn't show up in this one? Okay. He does say this line from the same translation. Yes, it was I behind those doors this whole time. You took so long to arrive, I was getting worried you might have gotten lost. I don't remember what the Gilgamesh voice is in Dissidia Duodecim, I think it was called, where he actually does have a voice. I just realized that he does have a voice that I could be trying to replicate, but I think I like my voice for him, actually. Long ago did I wonder what your role in this play was. A silent guardian content to watch events unfold with minimal interaction. At the last I understand. We were fated to duel, you and I. Best be, and you may have the spear. Fail and your weapons are forfeit. Okay, you can have my book. You'll have to return it to a library eventually, though, maybe? I don't remember where I got this. Sucro is, like, completely motionless right now. Except for the wind. I think. I will even fair terms, do you not think? I will even extend them to your allies. I grant you leave to summon others. After all, it will avail you no advantage. For Gilgamesh, it is embiggening time! He can become large. Now. Yep. Okay. Sucro is mildly befuddled by this. Well. Time for Greg. Surprised the Hildebrand quests have a unique trial in them. Yeah. Oh, also Hildebrand is still fucking dead. Do not worry about me, my friend. I shall extricate myself in due time. Sure you will. Battle on the Big Bridge. In his quest to acquire the strongest of weapons, the notorious duelist Gilgamesh has long eluded authorities until now. Forced to take a stand at the impassable Griffin Crossing, he's challenged you to a duel. Triumph, and he shall yield his latest prize, but if you fail, your weapons will be forfeit. And so we wait. Just kidding, I'm a healer. I barely ever have to wait. I just like hiccuped or something. I don't know if that was audible. The music is here too. You get the echo for free immediately for this? Now, I don't remember how this works, but it'll probably be fine.
Go on, Andrew. It's Toad, your favorite.
I forgot they voiced him! I was basically spot on, as close as I can do. Wow.
I admit it. Fighting all 8 of you is just too much for me.
I did a good job.
Not. Ha! I lied.
He does this again. Like a rug, I think he normally says. And then he does jump immediately.
Why, I've been hurt. This is far from as strong as it appears. I feel so betrayed. Goodness gracious. I, remembered something.
Oh man, this timed up really well with the music, actually. It went into like a quieter part as he ran away.
I must say, I quite enjoy these tussles. I feel we've gained an understanding. An understanding. I will pound you, silly! Ha-ha!
God, I wish they kept the voice in the second Gilgamesh encounter that's later spoilers.
Rocket punch!
God, Rocket Punch, that's right.
Rocket punch!
Oh no, I am a toad. I forget what you have to do when you're a toad. Except run away from the chicken. Because the chicken will kill you. I think. I think that's all there is to it, really.
Well then. That's enough of a beating for now.
Hey, you didn't give it the weapon. Well. God. And that was, Greg. I mean, Gilgamesh. Oh, hey, this road seems to be in a bit of disrepair over here. That says no entry. That just says no entry on it. That's cute. That feels like a good emoticon thing for Greg. For whatever reason. Is there like a... It must be the later one where you could like get Enkidu from it. Ah, no commendations. Shucks. Now that I'm a healer, I'm going to be constantly noticing when I don't get prizes from people. Well, things seem to be going well over here. Why, Craig, why? Are you dead again, Inspector? Yes. How many swords did he drop? Well, wait, doesn't that one there just look just like Elazar's sword? But even to my untrained eye, this is obviously a counterfeit blade, and so is this one and this one. What in the world? Alone yet still armed. In any case, he seems satisfied with the halberd. We will proceed with the delivery. If you wish to be present, I won't object. Meet me in Vesper Bay. Okay. This is why they give you all the tickets. It's for later Gilgamesh-related shenanigans. I'm glad I've gotten over my fear of being a healer, by the way. I just have to now have confidence in my ability as a healer, because I feel like I'm not doing that great overall. Oh, that's good. Greg is great. Ah, 'tis more magnificent than I imagined. 'Twill make a fine addition to my collection. Even Briarden is kind of happy. Well, was for a second. And with that, our business is concluded. Cheers. Cheers, I guess. I don't know why I said it weird. I genuinely mean that in your case, by the way. Nod. All's well that ends well, right, Inspector? Though it's a shame that Greg turned out to be the thief. There you are, Inspector Briarden. Why did you not wait for me at the docks? But wait! There's more shenanigans! Why are you all staring at me so? Oh, never mind that. Where's my treaty blade? But didn't we just give you the treaty blade? A mask. Disguise yourself as the client and let the treaty blade come to you. Take advantage of an existing situation to distract us from the real crime. Brilliant. The men in red never spoke of the treaty blade, only the halberd. Moreover, he always issued his challenges in person. Dear gods, isn't it obvious? What is it like in your funny little brains? It must be so boring. God. If the man in red did not send the challenge, then who did? You just need a screenshot. God, this game. This game. I believe this is addressed to me, condescending Inspector Briarden. Briarden? Piss off. Just that little tiny bit at the end really nails it. The humor of the scene. This guy, just after all of that, just piss off. God, the things that get me in these quests real good are the little bits, I think. 400 years have I slept, 1,000 faces do I wear. What is yours will be mine, I shall come to claim the Lapis Maiden's virtue. A many-faced phantom thief, interesting. The design and the wording are the same as before. The thief who sent the treaty blade sent this. Who stole the treaty blade, probably. Nod, nod. Very well, I alone, Hildebrand, Agent of Inquiry, Inspector Extraordinaire, once again accept your challenge. Actually, this is a good screenshot over here, I think. It really sums up the whole thing, doesn't it? You want to challenge her? Stand and face me, you buffoon! God. I'm glad that they're just as funny as they used to be. Yeah, exactly, Maria. I agree. The faces are so good, and the comedic timing and everything. How dare you all laugh at a time like this after allowing my precious treaty blade to be stolen? And you, Maria. Well, I suppose it is a little funny, isn't it? Two of them dashing to and fro, a pair of gentleman mummers. You know, it's been far too long since we've seen a show. We should head into the city later, just you and me. Ah, family bonding has happened. Not bad, Hildy, not bad at all. You are indeed a Mandeville man. Mark my face, O phantom of many faces, for it is the face of the A statue of Lolorito is also here. We don't know who that is yet. Don't worry about it. He sucks. And thus the second episode of the Hildebrand quests draws to a close. But of course there's more. Can't leave it at that. I love the little outro so much. The fiend dares lay claim to the fair maiden's virtue, as seeds of jealousy quicken within an inspector's soul. Can true love bloom on this battlefield? Will this Mandeville man find his Mandeville wife? A case of indecency. No, he won't. He just... No. No. Hey, what's with the goggles those men are wearing? They look special. Maybe if I ask nicely, they'll give me a pair. I guess we'll find out next time. Don't do that, Hildy. Don't even make that noise. Or those motions. Well. Once more, things have occurred. While Sucro was there. But what's next? The Business of Betrothal. Now, since these things are presented in, like, episodic format, would it be a bad idea to start one and then not finish it? Because I don't know if I can do the third part today. Maybe it's best if, like, a whole episode of a Hildebrand thing is done at once. Then what else do I do? I guess we can report to Kanaisena. Should I take this first, at least? Ah, there you are. I've been doing some investigating of my own since we last parted. I believe I found our Lapis Maiden. The girl's name is Arabella, daughter of one Master Guguremu, a prominent member of the East Aldenar Trading Company. Her eyes and hair are a most exceptional shade of blue. Her beauty's the talk of the Sultanate. Her purported beauty, I should say. You see, none have actually seen the girl in the flesh. Apparently, her father is the overprotective sort. Some say that the maiden has never set foot outside the family's well-guarded estate. I'm not going to do Ultimate Coil. Yeah, me too. It's really good. But all this is about to change. Rumor has it that the girl is to be wed. And not to just anyone, mind you, to the heir of the Bruguera Consortium. The formal announcement is set to be made at a commemorative feast to be jointly hosted by the two family businesses. The venue is Costa del Sol, where preparations are going on as we speak. Word on the street is that the bride-to-be will be making a rare public appearance. It's here that the thief intends to strike. I couldn't be more certain of it. Piqued your interest, have I? My sources tell me that the bride's father is already in Costa del Sol overseeing the preparations. This is one scoop I'm not going to miss, and you're welcome to come along. Well, I'll take that quest for next time. And we can always... I have this also. We can always read that next time as a reminder. It's also funny that there's some other people doing the Hildebrand quests at the same time as me because they keep showing up in the right places. Let's go tell somebody that we defeated Good King Muggle the 12th. May he never show up again. I feel like I had to add a little honorific flourish after that, but they all have to be spiteful. I don't know. Let's go tell somebody that we did that, like, a while ago. Let's pretend that we're doing the main story. Hildebrand, who's that? Never heard of him. That person was named Mini Cheeseball. Player names in MMOs are truly fascinating. I also need to give my voice a rest from doing ridiculous nonsense. The Elder Seats here is expecting you, madam. May I show you in? Well, what's going on over here? Sucro, Kuplokop says you killed the king. I'm pleased, of course, but it completely spoiled the end of your story, silly Moogle. By Louisoix's definition, the late King Muggle the 12th was indeed a primal, but how can that be? Defies all precedent. Everyone wants to hear your tale, Kupo. What are you waiting for? Tell him! Okay. First of all, I'm a cat. Second of all, I got really distracted on the way back here. By a gentleman? Sucro, you have returned to us unharmed and victorious. Thus I have 2 reasons to be glad. Yet many questions remain unanswered. If you'd be so kind as to oblige me, I would fain hear all that occurred in Thornmarch. Then it is as we feared. The king really is a primal. But he really isn't, is he? I mean, the Muggles don't worship him, for one thing. He's not even a god to them. That doesn't sound like any primal I've ever heard of. Then mayhap the fault lies with the definition. The fact remains that through a combination of power contained in crystals and the force of their collective faith, the Mughals called forth a being that by rights should not exist. Moreover, when slain, said being left no corpse, the ether which comprised him instead being scattered to the four winds. According to the accepted definition, he may not be a primal, but the mode of his manifestation was in every respect the same. Which means... Asians, this whole business reeks of their handiwork. Kupopo, they said it was a masked man who taught them how years ago, but Gridania has no shortage of masked men, and I never thought to question. My Moogle voice has changed. Confound it all, how many more will they ensnare with their tainted gifts? Too many, I fear. As long as there are paragons to stir the embers, fools to build the pyre, and pyre... She became like Scottish for half a second. And crystals to feed the flames. Ever and again shall we suffer primal visitation. A somber thought, but a salutary one. My heartfelt thanks, Sucro. Already the information you have provided has proven invaluable. The Grand Serpent Marshal and I have much to discuss. Oh, before you do, my lady, I was hoping we might finish discussing that other matter. The matter of which you speak has even now been settled. The Scions shall not want for support. We shall be glad to send additional supplies to Revenant's Toll. We knew we could count on you, my lady. My voices are not consistent, and I keep complaining about it. While Ida and I remain to discuss the particulars of our arrangement with the Endless Seed Seer, mayhap you could return to the Waking Sands and apprise the antecedent of all that's transpired. Fine. Once again to the Waking Sands. I wonder if they'll give me Rising Stones Aetheryte tickets. Probably not, because you can just teleport there. You can just go to Mordona. I like that there's a plot point that there's no Aetheryte at the Waking Sands. Yeah, it is difficult to keep track of all these voices and try and be consistent with them. I'm not confident in my voices, I'm not confident in my healing ability. I'm not confident in anything, really. Hey, Tataru. The Garlean threat may have abated, but there's no end to the work we Scions do. In our own unique ways, may every one of us continue striving to make a better Eorzea. I was striving to make a better Eorzea by panning the camera away from a terrible name that existed on that screen, but I could not. So I'm just going to pretend I never saw it, and hope that works. Anyway, Minfilia... Aw, shucks. People are too nice to me. It's good to see you hale and healthy, Sucro. I received word from Ida and Papalimo that you'd felled good King Mogglmog XII, but I'd hoped to hear your version of the tale. So it was as they said, someone with the same methods used by the Beast Tribes and taught by the Asians. Though unfortunate, the incident did at least serve to remind the Elder Seedseer of our usefulness. Why is Minfilia suddenly getting slightly European? British? Whatever. I don't know. I don't know anything. Ah! Ah, jeez. Thank you. Her offer of additional support could not have come at a better time. My thanks, Sucro. That seems like a bad omen. Minfilia falls over at some point during this quest. And we get Void Scent Blood. Wow, that's probably fine. Owing to the tireless efforts of all concerned, we are at long last ready to bid farewell to Vesper Bay. So as to avoid drawing undue attention, we shall make the journey to Revenant's Toll in small groups, departing at irregular intervals. I can just teleport there. Lest you doubt, it's still my intention to conduct future operations openly, but on this particular occasion the need for caution overrides all other concerns. to move north as one ponderous caravan would only serve to invite attack. It seemed only right that I'd be the last to leave, and I'd have you remain with me until the end, Sucro. Upon my departure, the Waking Sands will formally cease to be our headquarters, and the premises will be given into the care of Urianger. I'd thought to relinquish the property, but he was quite adamant, and I had not the heart to disagree. These walls have borne witness to some of the brightest and darkest moments in our Order's history. Mayhap it's best that we do not forsake them entirely. Urianger shall remain here and devote his energies to studying the nature of primals. By the grace of the 12, he will one day discover the permanent solution we've sought for so long. Of course, he will not be alone. Alize shall continue to work closely with him as well. We haven't seen Alize in the story for like 5 million years. Should they require our assistance, I have their assurances that they will not hesitate to contact us. Speaking of Urianger, would you inquire of him if any tasks remain undone? I cannot escape the feeling I've forgotten something. Something important. By the way, I would argue that, like, keeping one person alive, I only have one person to worry about. That's not terribly difficult. Hey, Thancred. I should take this quest one here. Ifrit exists. Thou art ever welcome, Sucro, but I require no assistance. Pray take thy leave unburdened by concern for my well-being. Verily, thy countenance bespeaks a desire to quit this place without further delay. Mayhap thou thinkest this chapter of our tale concluded, that these halls should rightly be consigned to the annals of history? It in man's eagerness to seize the future, how readily he doth set down the past. Full many a proud pioneer hath bravely stridden into the great unknown, only to find there the banner of his ancestor faded by the eons. And still man glorieth in his discoveries. 'Tis through his pride that wisdom doth ever give way to ignorance, while they who lurk in shadow remain hidden, lost no sooner than they are found. Okay. Be not offended, Sucro. Thy conduct hath ever been beyond reproach. Despite thy surpassing strength and all thy many victories, thou hast never been so convinced of thine own greatness as to imagine thyself above the failings of thy forebears. Mayhap it is the echo which hath opened thine eyes to the lessons of history. Would that the same could be said of... Oh no, a cutscene hath begun. I'm a cat? Screaming! Urianger, you talked too long and Minfilia got owned. Whence came that cry? The solar 12 forfend the antecedent. Well. Sucro, you must... Hang on, I'm having a flashback headache. Give me a moment. Meanwhile, 2 minutes ago, like literally 2 or 3 minutes ago, maybe. Tell me, Louisoix, would you have done the same? Louisoix Leveilleur was a remarkable man, wise beyond mortal measure. Would that I had met him prior to his passing. Surprise, it's me, Ascian. Not the same one as before, I think. And Ascian here, how? How readily you see. You are indeed gifted, antecedent. But you are not like the others. Your robes... I prefer the color white. That's all. Gifted but ignorant. Yet I shall not judge you harshly. The fault lies with your forebears. It has been millennia. Mine are the robes of an emissary. Unlike he who came before, I have no quarrel with you. He who... You speak of La Habrea? La Habrea is a warrior. He fought, he fell. He may yet learn from his mistakes. Then he still... Come, I only confirm that which you already know. There is no cessation, no oblivion, only expulsion. That's right, I'm expelling you from school. Pack your things and move out of your dorm room by tomorrow. God. I amuse myself too much sometimes. What are... And Tataru is here too. We're ready when you are, my lady, if there's nothing else. Tataru? Is something the matter? I feel the same way. After everything that's happened here, it feels strange to leave, but I'm sure we'll soon get used to Revenant's toll. I'll let you say your goodbyes. Take as long as you like, my lady. We shall depart whenever you're ready. She can't see him. It is only to be expected. She lacks the gift and the knowledge both. To her we are indistinct. I do not understand. Shadowless, fleshless, formless, what truth there is in each tale is diluted by time and telling. Knowledge dictates expectation, and expectation colors perception. Thus did she perceive not. So it is with all but a chosen few. Even you, when young, could not yet see with eyes unclouded. You know nothing about me, nothing. The gift grants you clarity, it grants you focus. With it you may in time come to see us as we are, rather than this crude approximation. La Habrea did not think so highly of the Echo. La Habrea is wrong about a great many things. The Echo is indeed a gift, albeit one you've yet to master. And if we did, there would be no strife between our peoples, for we would be of one mind. I leave as I came in peace, antecedent. May we meet again as friends. Wait, stay where you are! Ah, screaming! Mayhap I was indelicate. 'Tis a mercy she shields her children from his grace with such resolve. Was it also by her hand that you survived the ardor, I wonder? I could have done that before, but I wanted to use the door until you were rude. I take it there's no need to explain. You doing okay, Minfilia? Save your concern. He did me no lasting harm. Whatever his intention was, it was not to kill. I heard a cry. What happened? Are you all right? You look faint. Do you need to lie down? I could fetch you a flask of my special tonic. Urianger, send word to the students of Baldessian. Tell them to scour the archives, the forbidden tomes in particular. If there's any reference to an Ascian robed in white, however oblique, I would know of it. An Ascian, my lady? Was that what gave you cause to cry out? Nod. I did but moments ago glimpse a figure clad in white set forth from the waking sands. Yet Ascians are wont to employ teleportation magics. Why would one be so brazen? Wait, he teleported like 5 feet away and then walked out? So he was gonna leave through the door, but then he got mad, so he teleported like 5 feet and then he left through the door anyway. Okay. I know not and I care not. Find him, Sucro. Turn over every stone in Vesper Bay if you have to. Pray attend me, Tataru. Well. He speaks of peace, but I know his words belie his true intent. Quickly, Sucro, do not let him escape. Well. Looks like we've got some Asians to deal with. Again. But this one has a different fashion sense. What does it mean? Who can say? Tell me he's gone, Sucro. Tell me we're safe. We are safe, aren't we? Well, he seems to be right fucking there. Hey, excuse me. I am told that you're the warrior of light, but I would know for myself. I'm a cat. I shall walk north, and you may choose to follow. Know, however, that you will be waylaid if you do. You may even perish. Should you survive, we shall speak anon. Let's play tag, warrior of light. It will be fun. I will put enemies in the way. Solve my maze, warrior of light. Step into the spooky ground. You are being judged. Oh no, the Astian will know that I'm over-leveled for this part of the story and he'll be mad at me. Maybe. This fun little cave is where one of the guild tests in the game takes place. Here's a fun fact for you. Well, that was the gargoyle. This is where the boss of the guild house takes place. Now there's 2 gargoyles. Oh no. Now it's Dark Souls. They heard I was writing about a bell tower on Twitter. For a second, I thought that enemy was just named Large Toad. And that would be correct. Now I'm the one standing in the spooky circle. Oh. Just actual, like, regular Ascians? I forgot that you fought just, like, Ascian chumps at any point. So... Big chunk, oh god. I would not put it... You know... I'm gonna call it now. There will be a Big Chungus reference in Endwalker somewhere. Because that meme really, like, kicked off in popularity again, or, like, in the first place after Shadowbringers, I think? So they haven't had a proper amount of time to insert Big Chungus. But they will. They will find a way. Remarkable, truly remarkable. I thank you for granting me this indulgence. Thank you for killing my 4 shitty interns who I hated. Or something like that. None save she who bested La Habrea could endure such an examination. There were like 3 gargoyles. Have the laws of man grown so twisted in my absence that it's now permitted to lay hands upon an emissary? After what you've done, I think it is completely legal to hit you with a book, actually. You bore witness to my audience with the antecedent, did you not? Then you know I acted only in self-defense. I realize the same cannot be said of La Habrea. Even amongst his brethren he's considered unique. Nevertheless, I cannot wholly condemn his misdeeds, for through them we discovered you, one so strong in the gift that she could cast us out. Glare. Your mother favors you still, that much is plain, but surely you must feel it. Her influence wanes, and her strength shall soon be spent. These lands, these people, this world, all shall soon change. As it was, so it shall be again, as it should always have been. Doubt my claims and question my motives if you will. Only believe me when I say this. I am Elidibus, emissary, bearer of the word of the one true God, and we shall meet again. Elibidibidibidibidibididus. Okay. He was there for like 1 frame after the cutscene. I am a speedrunner. My frame-perfect teleportation will undo this world. And it's really cool. It's now canon that Elidibus is a speedrunner. Where were you, Sucro? Did you find the man in white? What am I doing? The antecedent is waiting for you. Okay. Thank the gods you've returned, Sucro. After you left, I began to worry that I might have sent you to your doom. I take it our visitor proved elusive? No, he proved Elidibus, actually. Beg pardon? He was waiting for you? What did you do? What did he say? As it was, so shall it be again? Of when does he speak, and of what exactly? I actually know exactly what he means, now that I think about it. That's the power of knowing the future of this game, because I've played some of it before. The words of this Elidibus pretend much but reveal nothing, save perhaps a measure of disdain for La Habrea. I'd hoped for answers, but it seems I shall have to be content with a wealth of additional questions. Let us set aside the matter of this Ascian until after we've completed our move to the Rising Stones. There's but one final favor I would ask of you before I depart. Oh hey, actually I just noticed they've moved the staff already. It's not there in the background. I believe I mentioned before that my father was a member of the Alamegan Resistance. The truth, however, is more complicated than that. As far as the Empire knew, he was their spy. He maintained the deception for nigh on half a decade, furnishing the Resistance with vital Imperial secrets, while feeding his paymasters subtly conceived misinformation. When he died some 15 years ago, my father left behind his journal, which I've closely guarded ever since. It contains every shred of information he and his agents could steal on what they believed to be the single greatest threat to Eorzea, the Primals. Its wisdom has guided me through the years, though there's still much within I still do not understand. It's my hope that Urianger will fare better. Tell him to treat it with care. It's all I have left of my father. Okay. Urianger, we have the library book you've been looking for 15 years, or whatever. Considering he's been trying to research the primals this whole time, and we just have a book of the primals knowledge that we haven't let him look at, that seems a little inconvenient. I thought thee departed. Till what end dost thou linger? The legacy of Minfilia's father, who perished in the parade incident of 1562 when a Gubu broke free of its magical fetters and ran amok through the streets of Ul'dah. Hey, that's the intro to the Ul'dah questline. I forgot somebody fucking died. Contains a wealth of stolen Imperial research on the primals, as well as other information which is yet to be deciphered. The father's final bequest, the daughter's lifelong labor. It is no small thing to surrender such a cherished memento. I can imagine the antecedent's pain. Upon mine honor, I swear to spare no effort in the study of these materials, lest my lady's sacrifice be in vain. Minfilia, I'm 2 rooms away. Sucro, this is Minfilia. Forgive me, but I could wait no longer. I've departed to the Rising Stones. Oh. If you've yet to... Once you've given the journal to Urianger, I bid you come to the 7th heaven in Revenant's Toll. Tataru will be there to show you inside our new headquarters. Assuming you've already attuned to it, you may wish to make use of our new Aetherite in Revenant's Toll. After all, it's right on our doorstep. Okay. I like to teleport directly to the base of operations that we have now, rather than having to use different means, which actually are just teleporting right to the front door because they added that feature later. But you know. We'll take a look at our new base, and then that'll probably be enough for now. Not quite as lengthy of a stream as the one yesterday, but that's not the right one. There it is. There's Tataru. Yeah, I know. Just saying. Oh, Sucro, you're here! Good, good. We were all wondering when you'd show up. As I was just telling your restive receptionist here, I'm pleased to inform you that all the documents have been prepared and all signatures signed. The Rising Stones is officially yours. Splendid. From this day forward, I will spare no effort in seeing that it's as welcoming and as comfortable a home for us as the Waking Sands ever was. That said, this is all somewhat intimidating, is it not? So many unfamiliar places and unfamiliar faces. Most of the men and women you see around here in Revenant's Toll are adventurers who come and go as they wish. I dare say that should make it easier for you to go about your business here. And it shouldn't hurt that Sucro here has already made something of a name for herself here. Isn't that so, Sucro? Nod. I'm a cat. Why, that's wonderful to hear. Rest assured that this receptionist will work just as hard to see that our efforts do not skip a beat, despite the relocation. And with that, Sucro, I do believe it's time you officially announced your presence to everyone inside. The antecedent and the others will surely be overjoyed to see you. I mean, I only saw the antecedent like 5 seconds ago. But still, it's important to see Sucro. The entrance hasn't spawned. Tara wanted to know why I was standing around talking to her instead of going inside. Welcome to the Rising Stones. We'll be seeing a lot more of it. Same music as before. I did not realize the Scions had moved until I arrived in Vesper Bay. Thankfully, Urianger was kind enough to direct me here. I know I've only just joined, but if there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. As you can see, our Charlian allies have furnished us with a wealth of new tomes. It would be prudent for you to broaden your knowledge as well. I would if I could, but I can't interact with that object. Sorry to say. As ravishing as ever, perhaps for old time's sake she would... God, Sucro, don't sneak up on me like that. We bards are an easily startled lot. I forgot you were a bard. Okay. Oh, you wish to help? Well, that's very kind of you, but I can manage on my own. Besides, you should be out having grand adventures, not withering away here with me. The horror, the horror. Okay. So here we are, completely independent and unquestionably neutral, or at least more so than before. Truth be told, I cannot say it feels that different. Of course, Ida begs to differ. I love the smell of victory in the morning. It smells like sweat. No, one toy sauce. No, victory. Yeah, victory. Okay. Victory smells like itself. Thank you, Ida, for your insight. Is it not wonderful, Sucro? Nary a single presumptuous merchant has darkened our door. I know full well they will come in time, but for now let us enjoy the respite. I keep saying respite, but I feel like it makes more sense if it was respite in some cases, but I don't actually know. I think I used to say respite, and then that was wrong. But yeah, they moved the staff. It's over there. Can I actually sit on these? Sure can. Cat sit on bench. It's everybody except for Urianger. He's not here. Can we get a voiced cutscene, maybe, for this? No. Well, it is certainly spacious. Today marks a new beginning for the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, for today we declare our independence. Nod. We shall henceforth be beholden to no nation, but serve all of Eorzea's people, proudly and openly. But this does not mean we will sever our ties to the Eorzean alliance. On the contrary, the antecedent and I shall endeavor to strengthen them. Rest assured, however, that we shall not permit political considerations to influence our decisions. Our identity remains unchanged, as does our cause. We are the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, and our single purpose is to safeguard the future of Eorzea. Much nodding and approving gestures. For Eorzea! Yay! Pointing. A moment of your time, Sucro. I would speak of Elidibus. I'm here too, actually. Pardon the intrusion, my lady, but the matter which bringeth me will admit no delay. Mine every attempt to contact the students of Baldessian hath been met with silence. No one will respond? How odd. Allow me to try. Pick up your phone. Damn it. No response. Surely they would not ignore us. They have never yet, my lady. I fear we must assume the worst. I will not believe it. An outpost, perhaps, but not their headquarters. Their wards are beyond circumvention. Had they come under attack, they would most certainly have raised the alarm. None can penetrate their sanctum unnoticed. But for those who lack the gift and the knowledge both, oh no. Contact their agents in the field at once. If aught has befallen the students of Baldessian, they may know of it. Though the thought of it pains me, until such time as we have evidence to the contrary, we can but assume the worst. Accordingly, we must needs seek another source of information on Elidibus. 'Tis possible that others in the homeland are possessed of such knowledge. Be fairly warned, however, they are unlike to yield it unconditionally. Do what you must. Yet another unforeseen and unwelcome development. What could be next, I wonder? A visit from a crimson-clad Ascian, perhaps? Or Oka, or Puss? And which of our allies would then fall silent? For a time, I thought we had gained the upper hand. You forgot chartreuse, that's also a funny color. When you shattered the crystal of darkness and cast out La Habrea, I dared to hope that we'd found a way to rid ourselves of the Ascian menace. But I was wrong. He endures and may yet return. Upon that point, I have no doubt that Elidibus spoke true. Yet there must be a way to destroy them utterly, a way to spare this world their unholy machinations. I dare not consider the alternative. There are forces at work we do not understand, Sucro. I discern them all around, in disturbances too great and too numerous to be dismissed as mere coincidence. Doubtless the paragons are involved, but how and to what end is far from clear. I know not what will come, but I do know that we will rise and meet it as one. Nod. Ah, my stalwart hero, your face is a picture of resolve. And a cat. I know that you will be ready when the time comes. With luck, however, that will not be for a while yet. Pray return to your private affairs with my blessing. Should anything arise, you will be informed. I think this is the end of 2.1, thus. Kryl, where are you? Meanwhile, in the brooding corner, your intercession was not foretold. You object? We question. Our plans are in motion, your intentions unclear. They survived the 7th Ardor and are now stronger in the gift. Does that not intrigue you? No, it does not. Serve as you will, so too shall I. We labor not at cross purposes. The wisdom of his plan shall become apparent in time, when the veil is lifted from their eyes, and at long last they see. That's probably fine. A Realm Awoken. That was the name of it. Things are gonna happen next time. But until then, this has been Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, and now Awoken. Next time, probably more Hildebrand, maybe some of patch 2.2. We will see. Thank you for your support and viewership. Should you wish to support me in other ways, you may find them arrayed below the stream as per usual. But don't concern yourself over much with that. And I hope that you have a nice day, a nice night. I hope that I just hope that things go well for you, just in general. And now Supra will go to bed. Good night, Supra. And good night, everyone.